Hey there, Eve here. Just me for this bit of the opening, as this one is a bit on the personal side for me. This episode does contain some sweet bits towards the end, but it ain't nothing you lot can't handle. At least, I don't think so. There is, however, an additional warning, but it does dip into the realm of spoiler territory, so I'll give you the opportunity to skip 30 seconds ahead if you do not wish to hear it. This episode will also contain a short scene and discussion of transphobic violence. If you can't handle that subject, I promise it will be kept short. And I will have some more to say on the subject at the end. But for now, on with the show.
Good evening once again, Brits on Bikes fans, and welcome to episode 10 of Brits on Bikes. It's a bit of a special episode today because it is just me, Jimmy Sprinkles, and the delectable Eve.
Ahoy, hoy.
Hi, Eve. How are you? All right?
Yeah, I'm surviving. A little bit sleepy, but other than that.
Well, you're all sleepy. God damn these time zones. What time is it for you at the moment?
2:30 in the afternoon.
Okay,
but
okay.
I work nights, so this is normally my bedtime.
We'll try and not keep you for too long, unless the game is awesome.
Beforehand, so.
For those of you that are wondering, Kat isn't with us tonight. It is, in fact, her birthday. Well, actually, it was yesterday. So she went swanning off to London. Did she send you pictures of marsh mummies?
Oh, yeah. No, that was, yeah.
Yeah, she's swanning around the British Museum, I think, at the moment. Happy birthday, Kat. By the time you listen to this, it will probably be about 3 months from now, but hey-ho. Okay, so we're just going to do a quick recap tonight. So basically, last episode, you guys did a little bit of investigating, and what did you do? It was the Knucker.
We stopped the Knucker. Sally stopped the Knucker, because he was just going to pelt it with baseballs and hope that I got rid of the weird fish.
Yeah, so Victor Wallace has managed to complete the second part of the Elementa Tenebri ritual, which means there are only 2 more elements to go. So are we going to see? Yeah, he is, but there's time, he'll be all right. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're just going to spend a little bit of time with D and find out a little bit more about how he's dealing with all the weirdness that's been going on in Marsh Haven. So it's Saturday and you had a training session booked. It's your very first cricket training session. Is there anything you would have wanted to do beforehand?
I mean, what time do these things normally go?
I'm going to be kind to you and say it's going to be about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, shoot. I don't even know. Honestly, you'd probably be going around town and, seeing what the situation on, all the flooding and whatnot is. If that died down.
Yeah, that's fine. So you're heading around town for a couple of hours. You wander past some of the flood sites. The puddles that you saw in the roads have all disappeared. There doesn't appear to be any flooding in the streets. If you recall, the Knucker sucked back all the water that had been taken from it as it disappeared down the well. You can see that there are still the odd traffic cone and tape up around certain flood sites. It looks like they're still trying to drain some of the excess water out. As you go past school, you can see that. Make a brains roll for me.
Oh boy. That's a 2.
You think you can see somebody through the window. You don't really know what they're doing, but you pay it no heed and you carry on your way. Is there anything else you want to do whilst you're in town?
I'll probably try and go, at least check in on Sally, but I'm going to assume that she's busy or otherwise unavailable.
Okay, sure. Yep, you go over to Sally's house and there's no answer there. So, I mean, this isn't an uncommon occurrence. She may well be out with her family. She might be elsewhere. So I'm afraid you're stuck. Although Nettles is with you.
Double check through that window, make sure it's not a Neil situation before.
Okay, well, you look through the window. The curtains are just open slightly. You can't see anything. There doesn't appear to be anything out of the ordinary.
Okay. Other than that, yeah, I mean, you probably go to the junkyard and fart around for a bit. Nothing too special there.
Alright, so you go to the junkyard. The disciples see you as you go in. They grunt at you, but don't really pay much attention to you.
Throw up a nod to, what's his face, a Snot Rocket or whatever?
Snot Rag.
Snot Rag, that's it.
Yeah, Snot Rag looks at you. Hang on.
You just do that little, chin up thing, yeah.
He kind of looks at you really confused and grunts and scratches his belly. I'm going to say that you spend a few hours just rifling through your clubhouse, just checking some stuff out. You might throw some balls around, rearrange some of the stuff that you put in there.
Looking for any stray magical artifacts that might be lying around.
Yeah, nice try. After a while, it gets to about 1 o'clock. You're going to need to get home to prepare for your training session.
Ugh.
I'm going to fast forward a little bit, get you back home. It's about 2-ish because it's a bit of a trek across town. Uncle Tommy's there as you get in, and he looks at you and says, "Oh, Dee, I'm glad you're back. I have all your things ready for you." And he hands you a sports bag. You might want to put your uniform on.
There's a uniform.
Of course, everybody's got to wear a uniform.
Alright, he takes the bag upstairs.
Inside the bag, you find a pair of white polyester trousers.
Okay.
A long-sleeved white cotton shirt. And a white knitted V-neck, what you would call a sweater vest.
Deep thinks that I just got thrown in there by mistake. It sets it aside.
And there's also a red peaked cap.
It's terrible. What's a peaked cap look like?
It's basically it's like a red newsboy's cap.
That ain't so bad. I don't think he's quite feeling it though.
Okay, so the Yankees cap's staying on, is it?
Yeah, unless somebody tells him otherwise. I mean, they're probably gonna tell him otherwise.
You dig a little deeper into the bag, and there's a bat in there. It's brand new, freshly oiled. It looks like Uncle Tommy's been preparing it for you. There's a couple of cricket balls. There is also a hard plastic box. It's your bollock box.
Oh.
I don't know what you guys call them.
It's like a jockstrap? I don't know.
No, I don't know either. A
cup?
Protector.
A cup?
Let's call it a cup. There we go.
Yep,
it's
cup.
A protective cup.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm sure Dee probably knows what that is. It's just like he plays street ball, so they don't use protection. They don't have helmets or anything. The closest thing they've got to protection is the catcher tends to wear a something over their face and a carpet for a vest.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, you get yourself ready and you head downstairs. Uncle Tommy's waiting expectantly in the kitchen to see you at this transformation, and his face drops slightly when he says, "Oh, Dee, you've forgotten your tank top."
What? No tank top in there.
Yes, there was the sleeveless jumper.
The what?
The sweater. The sleeveless sweater.
Oh. That's part of the uniform?
Of course.
Aren't you gonna get hot if you run around in that?
There's not a huge amount of running that takes place. Besides, you have to be kept layered up. And you have worn your protection, haven't you?
I mean, I haven't Put it in right now.
Okay, well, listen, I've got to go out. I have an appointment, but very best of luck today. I'm sure that you're going to have a marvellous time playing cricket.
Okay.
This is the point where we're going to fast forward a little bit because we're not gonna run the game or the training session, not yet anyway. Maybe we'll do it as some bonus content in the future. But I would like you to make a grit roll for me to find out how successful your training session goes.
Hey.
Ooh, that's not
16.
too bad. Okay, so as training sessions go, it's not too bad. You manage to grasp the basics of how cricket works. You even manage to hit the ball once or twice. Once it's explained to you that you don't hold the bat on your shoulder. But at the end of the session, your cricket coach does say to you that you have a good deal of potential if you train hard. So I want to know, Dee, how do you feel about this training session? How do you feel about this game?
Judging by, what I have seen of cricket, which, mind you, isn't too much, I think when, things actually start happening and, people are moving, I think Dee likes it. However, the rest of the time, he absolutely hates it and definitely does not understand how it actually works. Just knows that when you hit the ball, you run.
You do a little run.
Yeah, you do a little run. And then there's something about the sticks.
The wickets.
I mean, I know what a wicket is. I don't actually know what the wickets do or what their purpose is, but I know what they are.
Okay, so just a quick brief rundown, because I'm sure there's a fair few people who don't know how cricket works. Really, really quickly. So as a batsman, you're protecting the wickets. On top of the wickets is what's called the bail, which is a smaller stick. It's the bowler's job to try and knock the bail off the wickets. If the batsman obviously hits the ball, there are certain points that can be scored depending on how far it goes and, whether it goes, a bit like with home runs and whatnot. So if it goes a certain distance without dropping, you get a 6. If it goes a certain distance but it drops, you get a 4 or something like that. I don't actually know a huge amount myself, but that's basically
I think nobody actually knows how to play cricket.
And the running, you can score additional points by running certain numbers of times. It's actually there are lots of similarities between cricket and baseball, but let's not go into it because we hate sport.
Yeah, no, I know. I've played a character that's super into baseball. I don't know anything about baseball. I know the basics. It's pretty straightforward, but other than that, I couldn't tell you a goddamn thing.
Yeah, it's all the stats that confuse me.
Yeah,
I tried watching Moneyball a couple of weeks ago, and I really enjoyed it. I had no idea what they were talking about, but anyway, how are you feeling as you're on your way home?
It's fine, I guess. If I'm going to be doing something, I guess I could be doing worse things, I'd rather just be doing some baseball out in an old gravel lot or something.
Okay, make a brains roll for me.
That's another 2.
As you're wandering down, you're thinking that you would rather be playing baseball, but obviously you're beginning to see some connection between cricket and baseball. As you're wandering down the road, a figure comes into view. You've been with this person all afternoon. I'm fairly certain you weren't overly happy about it, but it is Rupert Nocturne, your classmate.
He's there.
Yeah.
Well, now he definitely doesn't like cricket.
Oh, so you decided to try and play our game, did you?
Yeah, kicked your butt at it.
I don't think so. I could knock you for 6 any day.
I don't know what that means. Look.
I can't see you ever making the first team. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you could just polish the wickets, serve up the sandwiches for us real players. What do you say about that, hey?
You know what? You're about to make me go out there and actually try to, like, be good out of spite. And that's saying a lot.
You couldn't be good even if you tried. I've seen better cricketers in the first year.
I've never played fucking cricket before. I don't even know what the rules are.
Besides, Mummy knows Mr. Hughes personally, so I will definitely get on the first team.
Okay, good for you, guy. This guy's a jerk.
He steps forward and he says, "Don't look so tough without that baseball bat of yours." He's got his cricket bat in his hand and he just prods you and gives you a shove.
Fucking, I got a cricket bat in the bag. Like, the thing weighs like twice as much. You seriously go sit here and try to push me around, kid?
Who do you think you're calling kid?
You?
Oh, you want some, do you? He pushes you this time.
Where are we at?
You're on the street.
Are there like people around? Like, is it a busy Saturday?
It's not busy. It's just a small like suburban street.
Okay, dude, stop fucking pushing me.
Or what? What are you going to do about it?
Do you have any idea why I'm over here? It's not for fun. I'm not enjoying myself over here.
I couldn't really care less why you're over here.
It's because...
The sooner you go back to America, the better as far as I'm concerned.
I got sent over here because I had to beat the crap out of some guys.
Well, they must have been nothing but sissies.
You really try my patience. I'm doing my best to be nice here.
I didn't ask you to be nice. I don't need anything from you. And he reaches up and he flicks your baseball cap off your head.
He punches him.
Okay. So you're going to punch him. Can you make a fight roll for me, please?
Yes. Alright. That will be a 7, and I want to go ahead and drop 3 more into it, because I know I have 3 at least. I'm pretty sure I was actually at 5.
So, alright then, tell me what this looks like.
Yeah, no, like, the second he, like, pops the hat off and, like, starts to drop his hand, just a full-on haymaker right into the cheek.
Right into the cheek. Okay, so I'm going to roll a grit just to see whether he manages to stay up, and he doesn't. The moment he touches your most prized possession, he gets it.
Don't disrespect the Yankees.
And you knock him straight to the floor. What do you do?
Yeah, he's just like holding his fist up. He's just like, I promised my mom I was gonna freaking do that, and you freaking, all you had to do was not do that. He picks up his hat. He's awake, right?
He's awake, yeah.
What is he doing right now?
At the moment, Rupert is trying his hardest to kind of. He's a little bit dazed, but he's getting back up, and he's looking at you, and he's going, "That was a lucky shot. Couldn't do that one again." And he puts his fists up. Dude,
just walk away. I don't want to do this right now. Just walk away.
He charges you. Can you make a flight roll for me? As in to dodge.
Yeah, that's 6.
So he charges head first at your chest, and you manage to swerve out of the way, but as you swerve, he pushes you into the wall and then goes to take another swing at you. And he misses, hitting the wall with his hand, and as he does, he cries out in pain and doubles over, clutching his hand.
You freaking idiot!
He is. He's a total doofus.
Weird. I didn't even move. Crap. Did you break your hand?
He looks up at you, snivelling. Mummy. No. And he starts to shuffle off.
You better not freaking tell anybody about this. Otherwise, somebody's gonna make fun of you. It ain't gonna be me, because, like, I don't know what I'm getting at. Just, like, You bought this on yourself, and that was probably the worst fight I've ever been in.
Yeah, he's an absolute tool. He's never going to beat you.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you want to do? Do you, as he marches off, he's rounding the corner.
I gotta grab my craft and keep going, I guess.
So as you...
people just need to freaking leave me alone.
As you pick up your hat and your bag and you head off, before you even take a step, you see another familiar figure.
This is like a freaking memory corner over here.
D, snivelling little wretch that he is, I really don't think you should be getting yourself involved with Mr. Nocturne. Mrs. Thistledown is stood right in front of you.
What? Why didn't you stop it?
Well, it seemed that you'd already managed to finish it before I even had a chance to. And if I got myself involved, then dear old Mr. Nocturne would know and no doubt tell his darling mother. I don't want to be seen taking sides.
Hey, he was trying to push me around. Like, that's a perfectly acceptable time for an adult to take sides. I mean, come on.
That's what bullies do. Listen, we have bigger things to worry about. I can't be getting involved in your domestics. You understand that, don't you?
Yeah, no, I get it, but at the same time, like, I don't know, like, in the States, at least, like, typically, a teacher would be like, you know, hey, knock it off, you idiots.
Well, we're not in the States now, and I don't think all of your teachers were quite like me, were they?
Not as far as I know. I don't know. Is it, like, pretty common for teachers to be freaking magic or whatever?
Well, yes, but let's try not to use the M word out in public, D.
Been using it forever. Anyway, nobody believes me anyway, so...
Anyway, I'm glad we bumped into each other. I've been meaning to have a word with you.
Yeah, you don't say.
Would you like to come for a cup of tea?
Sure. Yeah, no, like, it's freaking hot out here anyways. Nice, cool glass. Be real nice right about now.
Miss Thistledown leads you back to her house on Blind Cross Street. You go into the living room, and she says, "Oh, please make yourself at home. Sit down."
What kind of seating situation does she have?
There's like an armchair and a sofa. They're quite battered and chintzy.
We'll be making some power moves here. Armchair.
Okay. You sit yourself down in the armchair, and she says to you, "Oh, what would you how do you take your tea?"
Power move. Iced tea.
Oh, of course. I suppose I could try and do something. I'll be right back. You're left in Mrs. T's living room. Nettles seems to have settled on a carpet in front of the fire.
Is that one mirror that, why do I keep forgetting her name?
Erin.
Like, I don't understand why I'm having so much trouble with that. Every single time, I forget it. Is that one mirror that Erin came through still, like, there?
Yeah, the mirror's there up on above the mantelpiece.
Do you just, like, the second Thistledown's out of the room, he gets up and, like, quickly just, like, walks over and, like, pokes the mirror real quick?
Okay. Yep, you determine that it is in fact a mirror.
Dang. Okay. Do you suspect that?
Is there anything else you'd like to do while you're in the room?
I mean, unless there's something, like, particularly that stands out for, like, D to, like, poke or mess with or something. Not really.
You have a glance around. As we said in the previous episode, this is a room that is full of books. There are books on every possible subject that you can imagine.
Spy books.
Make a brains roll for me.
That's another 2.
You don't see anything specifically relating to spies. You certainly don't see the word spy anywhere. There is something you do notice, which is of some interest to you. Up on the mantelpiece is a picture. And the only reason why you're drawn to it is because it's got a picture of an awesome gun in it. It's a woman in her early to mid-20s. She's wearing a trench coat and a beret, and she's brandishing a submachine gun and chomping on a cigar.
Oh, sick. These like back up and looking at that now.
Make another brains roll for me.
Oof. My worst skills getting a real workout here. We might have to do like a skill shuffle if D keeps having to use his brain. Hey,
that's an explosion.
6 total.
That's a 6, that'll do it. As you look closer at the picture, you realise that the woman stood there proudly holding this gun and smoking this cigar is none other than Mrs. Thistledown.
Wait a minute. This Thistledown was a freaking mobster? What kind of gun is it? Like, for me, Eve, not necessarily for D.
It's a Lanchester submachine gun.
I have no idea what that is. One sec, I'm looking it up.
It's British issue. It almost looks like a portable cannon. 600 rounds a minute.
Oh yeah, no, I know what them are.
Really big barrel.
Yeah, with like the side magazine.
That's the one.
Ah, that's very sick. That's awesome. Yes, I'm super into it. As an Eve is super into it.
Mrs. Thistledown totters back just as you're sitting back down, and she's produced this china cup and saucer that she's placed in front of you, and in it is a tea with a splash of milk and some ice cubes. Did I get it right?
No. I'll show you later. What's up?
Well, I felt, Dee, that maybe, in light of our recent events, that we might need to sort of clarify a few things, and I felt that if you have any questions regarding everything that's gone on, that you may wish to ask me. I'm concerned that you're still a little bit lost. You're a stranger in a strange town. I've thrown this burden upon you, and believe me, it wasn't my intention. It just so happened this way.
Alright, yeah. If you're finally ready to talk about it, then yeah, let's talk. What's in it for me and Sally?
You've stuck around for this long, Dee. This isn't about what you get, and I think you know that, don't you? You understand the dangers that are occurring in this town, do you not?
I'm not sure if we're gonna, get the full extent of it, Because look at it from where I'm at, alright? What's happened so far? Army guys move in, they kind of do some stuff, and then they go away. Not much happens with them. These clowns, they steal a walk, make a big old Walkman. Walkman breaks. They go away. They chased us around for a bit. Didn't really end up doing anything. They make a weird fish. Fish floods some places. Nobody's hurt. Like I don't know what the actual back home. Every couple nights you hear gunshots out in the streets and whatnot. It happens. So, yeah, I get it. There's a magic here and who knows? Maybe that does something bad, maybe it don't. I don't know. See that picture of you up there carrying a friggin' piece, though? Looking like a grade A badass. And
no, that's nothing. That's just from my old war days.
Yeah, no, you say that it's friggin' nothing, but there's definitely some. We're gonna talk about that at some point, but maybe not right now, but at some point because it's cool as hell. But that's not my point. I don't know what the deal is here, because as far as I know, these guys are just freaking jerking around, like, was it the, Boggoth or whatever? Like, how do I know that's actually, like, a bad thing?
Listen, what you've got to understand, Dee, is that, this is just the beginning. Things are being put in place. You talk about gunfire going off in your neighbourhood every night of the week. It's far more subtle than that. And I've come to realise, and I've seen, that what you thrive upon is mystery and needing to know. Just like Sally. And that's part of the reason why you have become involved. You and Sally were not just plucked at random. You know that, don't you?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe we just got lucky.
No. The Order has very specific protocols for inviting new members. Yes, we want those who believe and are dedicated to preserving the Order, and those who wish to learn the ancient knowledge passed down from the Fae. But above all is the notion of imagination and play. For all their magic, the Fae hold imagination in the highest regard. It is imagination that binds the fabric of reality, and those who understand the nature of imagination are able to manipulate reality itself. That's what magic is. That's what the source is. It's not hocus pocus. It's imagination. Erin and I have been watching you and Sally for some time, Dee, and your ability to accept what others do not and believe the unbelievable has given us just the merest insight into your capacity to imagine.
So, what, like, I'm creative, so, I don't know, are you gonna make a fireball?
She sighs. Make a brains roll for me. It has to be brains.
Hey!
Yay!
That's another 6.
You understand that what she's trying to tell you is that I think actually you probably nailed it from what you've said. Because I'm creative, I can make a fireball. It's not quite as simple as that, but it's your creative process. And she interrupts you as you begin to ask about fireballs, and she says, look, just think about it. You met Lazarus and didn't think twice about helping him. You realised that something strange was going on the demolition site, so the three of you concocted this elaborate scheme involving costume. That sort of thing is catnip to the Fae. They were watching you. They watched everything that you did, and they delighted in what they saw.
So, they like it when I get some real good plans going on.
That's just part of it. There is...
One sec. Thistle down, I want to hear out of your mouth that I had a good plan.
Thistledown sighs. For the purpose of our conversation, then yes, Dee, it was a plan that appealed to the Fae and certainly brought you to their attention.
Yes.
She smiles and tries to hold it back a little bit, almost a little bit charmed by your innocence. She says there is, of course, more to the selection process. It isn't just about imagination and play for the Order. There are those who find themselves in the Order by way of blood. You remember I told you that I was the last of the Order, yes?
Yeah?
Well, the war took several members in our struggle to fight the Nazis, and there were others who were lost in other ways that you may come to understand if you decide to continue to help with our cause. She looks down at the floor and looks a little bit uncomfortable. You know, it doesn't take brains to realise that this is difficult for her. And she says, Dee, did your mother ever tell you why she moved to America?
No.
You know your mother was from Marsh Haven, of course.
Yeah?
Dee, your mother was one of the greatest potentials the Order ever had. At least in the last 100 years. She viewed the world with such wonder. She was a free spirit, resilient, and good lord was she mischievous. The Fae adored her. And for a time, I truly believed that we could restore the Order to its former glory.
Wait, what? Does she know about all this stuff?
She did, but it was not to be. There was an accident, and in time, I will tell you, but not today. Suffice to say, your mother was not quite the same. She emigrated soon after. We kept in contact for a while, trading postcards, but I haven't seen her since she left. She walks across the room and picks up a postcard on one of the bookshelves and hands it to you. On the front is a picture of a festival taking place in Little Italy, with just New York written across the top. And it just says, "Dearest Wenna, Derek is coming to stay with Thomas. Keep him safe." And it's in your mother's handwriting.
This is Dearest Winter?
Dearest Wenna.
Wenna.
Wenna. So her full name's Morwenna.
Oh. Okay. I guess she never told me about you.
I suspect, for the same reason she hasn't told you an awful lot about your past. It's something that she wishes to forget.
But then, why would she... So she knew about all this stuff. And, like, that there's, like, magic and what's it here. She sent me here anyways. To keep me out of trouble back home. Even though it seems like there's more trouble.
It's a little bit more complicated than that. You see, your mother doesn't remember. She remembers her time in Marshhaven. She remembers the fun she had. She remembers our friendship. But her knowledge of the Fae, and her adventures are clouded to her.
Like some sort of weird amnesia, or like a brain cloud.
Something like that, yes.
Okay. What causes something like that?
It's something that maybe we can go into a little bit later on down the line.
You keep telling me later with all this stuff, and I don't understand why we can't just talk about it now.
In order for you to fully understand, there are things you must go through. There are things you must learn about the Order, about the Fae, and most importantly, about yourself, which is why I've brought you here today.
I'm pretty sure I know myself pretty well. Got a pretty good think on here. I say so myself, Well, a real smart person.
Well, I'm sure you do, but it's time to delve a little bit deeper. It's time to truly understand and know who you are. If you wish to, as you've suggested in the past, learn certain powers,
where are you gonna teach
there
me
are
some
journeys
stuff?
You must go on.
Like, wait, what? How? Huh? Alright. No. Whatever it is. Yes.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. I need you to go on a journey.
Where and how long?
Oh, you won't be going very far at all. In fact, you'll be staying right here.
Well, I don't think that's a very far journey then.
So, out of character, what are your thoughts?
On what particularly? There's definitely a lot going on here. For instance, this down knowing Dee's mom. That's big news.
I mean, what would you like it to be?
What do you mean?
Well, is there any particular route you would like to take with this month, Fred?
Honestly, no. Like, I'm kind of digging where you're going, where, these... Because, I remember how, I told you I'd, get back to you on, Dee's relationship with his mom. I've actually been thinking about that, and I think the situation is, it probably would have been healthier for Dee if Dee was a lot closer with their mom. Because, in general, the way I've been viewing it, is that these moms are a lot more accepting and a kinder, better person than their dad.
Okay, cool. Mrs. Thistledown disappears off to the kitchen and comes back a few short moments later with a small crystal vial. She says, Dee, if you are ready and prepared to do this, you may want to lie down. And she gestures over at the sofa that you didn't sit in.
Why?
Because this journey is, it's internal rather than external.
He's looking at the vial. It's like, are we doing drugs? I mean, I've never done drugs.
It's not. It's just something that will help you relax for the journey ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna take your word for it, alright?
Okay, well, your sign of trust is much appreciated.
I don't know if we're quite there yet, but hey, I'm willing to try new things.
So you hop onto the couch and she gestures to you to put your feet up and to lie down.
Alright, I just want to put a disclaimer here. Kids, if a strange woman ever asks you to do this stuff, don't. This is work of fiction. Okay, he does that.
She hands you the vial and she says, look, it's a little bit bitter, but just drink it all down in one.
He's gonna sniff it first.
Okay, like she says, it has an acrid smell that makes you wince a little bit.
Alright. The bottom's up, eh? Get it? Cheers. Dee just does it.
You drink the potion and very soon you begin to feel your eyelids grow heavy. It's a strange feeling, it's not unpleasant. You feel a tingling sensation course through your body and everything seems to be getting a little bit hotter and the room gently pulses and your eyes soon drop and you begin to slowly slip out of consciousness. When you open your eyes next, you find yourself lying on the ground, looking up at the sky. What do you do?
Night sky, day sky, what kind of sky?
It's daytime.
Cloudy? Clear?
It's overcast. It's neither hot nor cold. Make a grit roll for me.
Hey, I'm good at those. I'm real good at those. 18.
It's neither hot nor cold, it's fairly overcast, but the quality of light is very clear. If this was 40 years in the future, it would be in 4K. Everything seems very crisp and sharp.
Yeah, do you set up?
You look around and you find yourself somewhere where you've been before. No more than 10 feet away from you are 3 red marble monuments, and you know exactly where you are. You're in Monument Park in Yankee Stadium. You don't even need to look at the plaques that are on these 3 monuments. You can see the brass images of Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and Yankees manager Miller Huggins. To the back, you can see some of the familiar plaques. You see Joe DiMaggio, you see Mickey Mantle. This is a place that you've been to many, many times before.
Oh, heck yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, this is a good journey. Alright.
Oh, you took your time, didn't you?
Who's that?
Down here.
He looks down.
Coming up from behind the monument of Babe Ruth is a familiar figure. It's Nettles, sporting a very, very small New York Yankees baseball cap.
Ah, that's cool. Do you keep that?
Look, we haven't got much time. I think we do have to journey on, so are you ready, Dee?
I can't... Is that what you sound like to Sally? Because, I've been picturing you with, a Jersey accent.
No, don't be silly. I'm not a Neanderthal.
Alright, nobody likes Jersey, but, that's still kind of insulting.
Look, we've got things to do.
Alright, fine. Okay, yeah, sure,
Nice to see you had the balls to take the potion.
Yeah, I did.
So, you're ready to go on your journey, are you?
I mean, if my journey's through New York, then yeah, I'm about to crush this stuff.
Well, allow me to be your guide.
Don't you think it should be the other way around, you know?
No. Not on this journey. Nettles looks up at you and he says, follow me. And you begin to walk. And as you start to walk, mists begin to appear all around you, enveloping you. And you step out onto a walkway. It's in your local neighbourhood. You see that? A couple of familiar faces? Right, so we are going to do a quick flashback sequence now.
Okay.
This is going to be you and your friend talking and you starting to probe.
Gotcha.
So at this point now, Dee and Nettles are watching this scene happen, but I'm asking you now to play the character of younger Dee, from about a year and a half ago.
Gotcha.
You're going to be walking down the street with with your best friend. What's his name?
We're going to go with, it's a good name for another Brooklyn kid. Let's go with Marco.
Marco what?
Marco DeSanto.
Marco DeSanto. Okay. Nettles gestures over at you, and you follow his gaze.
Question: how does how does Nettles gesture?
He just looks over.
Okay. I'm just curious how dogs gesture.
It's just a little tilt of his head.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Carry on. Sorry.
So, let's play this out. Let's just see what happens in this conversation. Okay. Marco's got a stickball bat in his hand when he's kind of thwacking it on the ground as they're walking through. And he says, hey, Dee, so have you decided who you're going to go to the dance with on Friday then?
Just gonna stop you right quick. That is amazing, and I love it. You're doing wonderful. All things considered, that is great.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I know Brooklynites are probably going to hate it just as much as they hate mine, but I think it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Very good effort. Much better than any accent that I could put on from across the pond. I like my last man, but
oh man, Wendy. I gotta ask Wendy. She keeps giving me the eye, and I reckon maybe I stand a chance. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I guess. I thought that she was going out with Benny, though.
No way. I stand a better chance than Benny.
Well, I mean, Benny can go soak his head. But, I'm just saying,
You know what? I turn on the old Marco charm. She'll be putty in my hands. See, that's what you gotta understand about the ladies. They like the charm. They like, you bring them flowers. You dress up smart. You'll be okay.
Hey,
so what are you gonna do? How are you gonna deal with Mary?
I don't know. I ain't never been good at that kind of stuff.
Well, you gotta learn. You gotta try.
I guess. I don't know. Okay, just, I don't know, I feel like I'm not pushing anyone around or anything, I know it's anyone even likes me. Honestly, I don't even understand why we got worried about it.
What are you talking about? We gotta have dates. We gotta have dates for the dance. We don't want to be no chumps. We don't want to end up in a corner.
I don't know, I like to just, kind of hanging out.
Sure, we can hang out, no problem. But we gotta get these dates, okay? It's what we do. We're gonna be men in a few years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, yeah. Dee's actually starting to, very clearly just, look very disinterested in this conversation at this point. I don't know, man. You need girls or anything to do that.
Hey, what's wrong with you?
I don't know. Like, yeah, it's been,
You gotta get your head in the game.
been like thinking about stuff lately, you know? Like, you know, like you do if I think about stuff.
So what you thinking about?
I mean, you know, just like stuff that every guy does at some point, right? You know?
Yeah,
Stuff.
sure. I'm thinking about the end of that dance. That little goodnight kiss, a little bit of a smooch. You know Wendy will put out, right?
Come on, man, come on.
You know I could get to at least third base with her.
I don't know. I'm thinking. You don't even know what third base is. Shut up.
Sure I do. That's like kissing with the tongues, right?
Alright, maybe you do know what third base is. But it's not my fucking point. Look, like, you know, I don't know. I'm just concerned that, like, maybe, like, that ain't, like, I don't know. You know, I'm normally real good with my words and such. Not feeling so good with the way now, you know? I don't know. Have you ever just, like, you know, put yourself into their shoes? Like, you know, think, like, hey, you know, like, what's like one up? You know, like everybody thinks that at some point, you know? Thing.
What?
You know, like, what's it like to be a girl?
Yo, D, why you gotta talk like that? That's some crazy, weird nonsense.
Yeah, not crazy. Come on, everybody's had.
You saying what? You saying you want to think like a girl?
What? No, okay, I'm not saying.
Hey, listen,
that.
I had an uncle do the same thing. It wasn't good. The family, they didn't want nothing to do with him. You gotta put those crazy thoughts out of your head, D. You hear?
I mean, come on, like you haven't thought about that, like ever?
No. Why the hell would I?
No, I thought that was just like a thing people did.
Look, D, just get yourself abroad, and then we go to the dance. We get to third base, we have a great time. You hear? I don't want to hear none of this thinking like a girl bullshit.
Yeah, no, yeah, man. Yeah, no, Marco, that's... Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, laters, I'm gonna go.
Alright, yeah, dude, I'll, see you later.
Okay, and we're gonna bring you back to D. How was that? Was that alright?
Yes. It took us a minute to get there, but I'm glad that we did. I loved it.
Nettles looks up at you, and he says, "Oh, you're, quite the wit with words, aren't you?"
D is just completely slack-faced right now. Like, you know, 100% no emotion on the face whatsoever. It's like, what are we doing here? Why did we just see that?
Well, this was the beginning, wasn't it? This is where it all started. And the mist envelops you again. And this time, you see younger D and Marco. And they're not walking side by side. They're surrounded by other children. And it looks like they're in the middle of a fight. And you can see that D is on the floor. Not lying down, but sat up, almost trying to get up.
Yeah, propped on the elbow.
Yeah, and it's all very fuzzy, but you can see Marco shouting and looking at D with venom in his eyes, and the kids around are just laughing. And then the mist swirls again, and you find yourself back at Monument Park. You see Nettles. He's there, still in his baseball cap, trying to rid himself of an itch by rubbing up against the corner of the Miller Huggins monument. Seems like quite the scuffle you got yourself in there, old boy. So tell me, how does one go from being best friends to having 7 shades of Sheba kicked out of him? Is this how you always solve your problems?
Not very much. Like, I thought, I was thinking we could go like a fun little romp, and like I don't know, like fight some monsters or something. I don't like thinking about this stuff.
Well, you've got to, I'm afraid, Dee. This is part of your journey. You have to understand yourself before you can start tackling the monsters, as you call them.
Yeah, but why?
But why? Because, like I say, you need to understand yourself. You need to understand what drives you. And let's be honest, Marco may have been the first, but he wasn't the last, was he? Sammy Burke, Corey Parks, Charlie Barker. You just keep fighting, don't you?
Well, the bike keeps pushing. Like, what choice do I have, huh? What
was it that Marco said that was so awful?
They wouldn't stop. Is because when I tried to freaking talk to. You saw what I tried to talk to Marco about, okay? And that just started spiraling up. And everybody kept talking about it, and like they kept telling everybody else, and they wouldn't stop. And I tried to get them to stop, and like that just made them talk more. And I don't know why we got to be talking about it right now. Like, not a freaking big deal. We don't need to talk about it no more.
But you need to think about it. Come on, we haven't finished anyway. We've more to do. And he turns around and trots off.
Fine.
The mists start to swirl once again, and you find yourself standing in front of a line of people outside a large fortified building. A guard stands at the door with the word visitors stenciled upon it. Nettles looks up at you and he says, "Care to tell me where we are?"
Yeah, this is where my dad's at.
Ah, Sing Sing, yes. Now I remember, dear heart. So we're going to meet your father, are we?
I guess, I don't know, are we?
You watch the people slowly walk in one by one through the door. You can see both your mother and your younger self making that visit. Nettles looks up at you and he says, "What do you think your father's going to say when he sees that black eye?"
I mean, well, he's just gonna ask if the other guy was, like, got it worse, if I remember right. Like, that's what he does. Anytime I got into a fight, it's just like, make sure the other one got it worse, right? I'm like, yeah.
Let's see, shall we? Nettles trots up to the back of the line, and you slowly shuffle forward and into the door. As you walk through the door, the mists begin to swirl again, and you find yourself in the prison visitors' room. You stand just a few feet from your mother and yourself. You can see that your mother is... Well, make a grit roll for me.
Alrighty. I've got real dice.
Real dice.
Let's see how badly this screws me. Hey, a 13.
Yeah, but you can see that your mother is struggling to hold back tears. She's obviously quite distressed, and you are there holding your mother's hand, and she hands you the telephone receiver. Your father sits behind the transparent screen holding the other receiver. You place the handset to your ear. So, your mother tells me she's made plans for you.
Yeah, that's what she told me too.
See, I don't know nothing about England, champ, except what your mom tells me. I think, maybe we have some distant cousins out there somewhere, but who knows? Anyways, make another grit roll for me.
14.
You look over at your mum, and you can see that she's giving a very determined look at your dad. Tell me about the relationship with you and your father. Your mother and your father. What's it like?
It's one of those things where when it's good, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
But when it isn't, it's not, and it can get very contentious at times.
And what would you say is the ratio of good to bad?
Honestly, I'd probably say It's probably a 60-40. 60 good.
60 good. Okay, that's where my brain was going with it as well, so that's cool.
Yeah.
So you see your mum looking over at him, and it's one of those moments where he's going to buckle and give in, and he looks back at you and puts his mouth to the receiver, and he says, "It'll be good for you, you know? All these getting into fights, D, it ain't good for you. Don't want to see you inside here with me, no matter how much I miss my boy. Yous will be a man soon, and a man fights to protect himself and his family. He don't sucker punch every no good nick who calls him names, you hear? You make me proud, you know that. So go to England, have tea with the Queen or whatever it is they do, and come back a man, and hopefully your pops will be out of here waiting for you."
Yeah, no, of course, Pops. Like, I'm doing my best, okay?
It's good to know. You know, I need you to come back, and I need you to look after your mother. You're gonna be able to do that, yeah?
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely.
That's my boy, that's my champ.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the mists begin to swirl again. And all of a sudden you begin to hear a rather comforting, if somewhat badly played tune. It's Take Me Out to the Ball Game, and when the mists finally clear, you find yourself just up by the press box of New York Yankee Stadium, and if you peer through the glass in the little hut next door, you can see Nettles bouncing along the organ, thumping out a tune. Oh, this is marvellous. We should see if Thomas can get one of these for us, D. I could get quite used to playing this, and he's bashing away on the keys with his little paws.
You know, they're pretty cool, right? So, are we done here?
I don't think so, D. No, not by a long shot. So, your dad wants you to do a little bit of growing up.
Yeah.
You think you can do that?
I don't know if I can do it how he wants me to. I don't. Everybody seems to. But wants me to be someone else, and I don't know who I am anymore. And this is.
Well, who do you want to be, D?
I don't know, but every time I think about who everybody's trying to get me to be, though, I start. Well, do we really have to talk about this, or? Yeah, I really don't.
Derek, I don't mean to do this to hurt you, but you have a wonderful capacity for imagination. And part of that imagination is that you are able to be whoever you want to be. Not just in your head, whenever you want.
But like, what if I'm just, like freaking crazy or whatever?
You're talking to a dog. We're all a little bit crazy. Don't worry, it's what makes us who we are. It's what makes us strong. And speaking of which, there is something else you have to see. Nettles hops off the organ and with some difficulty makes his way down the steps of the stands, and the mists once again begin to swirl, and you find yourself in much more familiar territory. You're back in Marsh Haven, and you're outside Sally's house. Nettles looks up at you. "Come on, dear heart, chop chop. I've got something to show you."
Okay.
And he trots over to the side of the house, down the alley, and round the back into the garden. You wander round past the back door and to the kitchen window, and you can see Sally's mum. She's sat there laughing and joking with Sally's younger sister. She's brushing her hair, and they seem to be singing a song, sort of playing together. Sally's dad sits at the table, just reading a newspaper, and Sally is sat there, looking into her bowl of cereal, looking up at her mother and her sister playing. Roll grit for me, please.
Oh, not 20. 28.
Clearly, Sally is very unhappy. You can see that there is a need, a want to connect with her mother, and she's not getting it. The mists begin to swirl again, and this time you find yourself in Microsoft Park. And Sally's there, kicking a ball around on her own. She's making a show of kicking a ball into a goalpost, an empty goalpost, and then kind of running over and being the goalkeeper, and then running back and taking the penalty. And there's a few kids around. Some of them you can see are pointing and laughing at her, but she pays them no heed. She just carries on with what she's doing. And the mists begin to swirl once more. And you find yourself back on the pitcher's mound of Yankee Stadium.
Why did I see that? Also, holy crap, on the field.
I know you're having a tough time, Dee. I know that life is difficult for you and things have gotten very, very strange. But what you have to understand is that you're important to people. You mean the world to Sally, not just as someone who has shared the experiences that you have shared, but she's your friend. And you make Sally a better person. She was lonely without you.
No, dude, I'm a piece of crap. I'm probably gonna get in trouble or something.
Yes, but part of living, part of being who you are is getting into trouble. I'm not saying that you have to go off and break into buildings left, right and centre, but what I am saying is that, you know, you are enabling Sally to also discover who she is. You're an important person, Dee, and you've got to start accepting that.
Oh, this is some real heavy stuff, man. I don't feel so good.
Well, you know, it can't all be baseballs and putting on army uniforms. I'm afraid now things are going to take a somewhat sinister twist.
What does that mean?
We have to start looking towards the future.
What does that mean?
We have to see what is yet to come. This is a imprecise art. These things haven't happened yet, but it's important that you know what could come. And once again, the mists begin to swirl. And they don't really go away this time. They become thinner, you begin to see the scene, and what you see is immediately you realise that it's unnatural. It doesn't feel real. It feels like a disjointed, flickering old movie. You're in a storm and the lighting is very unnatural. There's lightning all around, and in front of you is a huge crowd of people. Make a brains roll for me.
3.
The place looks familiar to you, but you couldn't quite pinpoint where it is. The crowd of people have their arms raised above them and they're swaying in time with one another. Make another brains roll for me.
That's a 1.
All you know is there are literally hundreds and hundreds of people, and they are all moving in time. And they are looking towards a man who is standing in front of a makeshift V-shaped altar.
Sick.
You can't see from this distance. Nettles looks up at you, says, Dee, do me a favour, will you, and pick me up.
Alright. He picked up Nettles.
As you pick up Nettles, and let's spend the psychic point, you certainly feel a comforting warmth course through you. And make a grit roll for me.
14.
14.
This is a good dice.
You manage to separate yourself from the scene, and you, because there is that flickering quality to it, you're not quite as unsettled as you might have been. Do you wish to stay here, or do you wish to explore further?
What are we looking at? What's going on?
This is what could happen, Dee. This is just one thread of a possible future.
Who are these guys?
You don't recognise them. This is Marsh Haven.
What are they all doing out here?
He looks over back at the altar. On the stem of each thing of the altar, so it's a V shape. There are two figures lying down.
Where am I at in relation to the crowd?
You are behind the crowd.
Yeah, I'm gonna start pushing through them.
You can call it this. It's fairly well organised. It feels like a kind of congregation. So there is an aisle down there.
Gotcha.
And obviously you can't be seen.
Yeah.
The people begin to chant as the man calls out over the storm. He turns his back on the crowd and holds his arms out to the storm, which increases in ferocity as he starts to shout louder and louder and louder. Nettles looks up at you and says, "D, I think we need to go back."
Go back where? What's happening here? What are they doing?
I think it's time to look over there, back where we were. The storm is getting louder and louder. Can you make another grit roll for me?
That dice finally failed me. That is a 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
As you turn to head back, you realise that one of those figures on the altar is wearing a baseball cap. And you put 2 and 2 together, and you can't get out of there quick enough. You haul ass back to your previous position. The figure continues to shout, and acolytes step forward. Nettle says to you, "I don't think you really want to see this, D."
What has happened? I don't understand.
The acolytes hold 2 knives aloft and plunge them into the figures on the altar.
Holy crap.
The madness descends, and the ground begins to shake. The wind picks up. All the crowd seem oblivious. They seem locked in ecstasy before being swallowed up into the ground. But it's not ground. It's a giant, sludgy moor. Rock and dirt and mud form lips where the people once stood. 2 flaming orbs of fire pop open as a gigantic head pushes forth from the marsh. As you see the people being tossed around in the creature's mouth, being crunched and swallowed as if they were nothing more than a handful of popcorn. The scent of blood is thick in the air, and the sky, in response, is turned crimson. The man at the altar looks maniacally on as the arms and shoulders are formed, chest and legs. The creature stands, the Boggoth, a gargantuan beast of chaos and terror. And the mists descend once more.
What was that? What was that? What was that?
You find yourself back in Yankee Stadium on the home plate. Nettles is curled up. He looks up at you and he says, I think you know what that was, don't you, D?
Is that thing? Between, the Boggoth?
The Elementa Tenebri. Victor Wallace completed it, and Marsh Haven will disappear.
Holy crap. Do you take off their hat? He's just like running a hand through their hair and just like, what the crap was that? Oh, that was freaking huge. How do you fight that? Like, what do you do?
There is always a way, D. There is always a way. And I hope, that maybe you'll find an answer.
Oh. Okay. See, not like I was thinking that was just like no. Yeah, something like that, like weird fish thing or something. Not like that was. Oh, that's heavy.
It is indeed, which is why it needs to be stopped. But, you know, it doesn't have to be that way.
What do you mean?
Let's go for one more trip, shall we? And again the mists descend, and again the scene is flickery, disjointed. You can't quite fully see through the haze, but you seem to be stood. Brains roll for me.
4 and 7.
Yeah, you're back in Marsh Haven. It looks a little bit different. Not quite the Marsh Haven you know, but you couldn't quite place your finger on what exactly is different. You're stood outside one of the old terraced houses. You know, you've seen countless of them. The road seems familiar, but you couldn't say exactly where in Marsh Haven.
Yeah, it's kind of fuzzy.
And as you were standing there, a battered Volkswagen Beetle comes herring down the road. You hear it before you see it, and Nettles takes a little bit of a step back as the car hurtles into the driveway and pulls to a stop with a screech. This car has seen better days. It's a little bit dented in places. The hood wobbles a little bit every time it moves.
Yeah, beater.
But it's a Beetle. That's what they're supposed to look like. And as you're watching with Nettles, a young woman steps out. She's wearing faded jeans, what looks like Doc Marten boots, and a t-shirt that says The Runaways on it. She seems to be carrying a pile of really, really old-looking books. She gives a wave to her next-door neighbour, who's just hanging out some washing on the line. She heads off into her house. What do you want to do?
Who's that?
Just somebody from your future.
Am I supposed to follow?
As you go to step forward, the woman comes out of the house and goes back to the car. She opens the door and reaches in, and just as she closes the door, she places an old battered New York Yankees cap on her head and walks slowly back to the house.
Where'd she get my hat?
Once again descend. And this time, you find yourself opening your eyes and you're back in Mrs. Thistledown's cottage on the sofa. Mrs. Thistledown's still there. She's sat in the armchair. How are you, Dee?
Dee's just like sitting up and looking around, just like, what was that? Did you see any of that?
It wasn't my journey to see.
Ooh. Did you say how they had my hat? I don't understand. I don't know what's happening. My head hurts.
Tell me, Dee, what did you, It's a lot to process at the moment. Yeah. I'm sure if your experience was anything like mine, then it's been something of an information overload. Did you learn anything?
Oh no. That was okay. Let me just like he's sitting up and just like the hands just like hovering next to the head, just like okay. Marco, he's being a tool, a jerk, and we got into a fight, and all the motherfucking fights, and my dad was there, and he's wanting me to be man, and I don't think I can do that, and I don't think I want to do that, and I don't.
You don't want to be a man, but everybody needs to grow up, Dee.
It's not. It's not. It's not what I mean. I don't know. There's a lot, and then Sally was upset, and then I saw the blog off, and I know how like all that stuff finishes.
Not how it finishes. That hasn't happened yet. We still don't know the ending.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I know how he does it. Or, sorta. I don't know. He stabbed a couple people. One of them had my hat. I couldn't see it, though. Yeah, it's so freaking weird. And then there was, the lady with, like, a freaking, claw, you know? And she had my hat. Why did she have my hat?
Why indeed?
I don't know. What? Holy crap. I feel like I'm gonna puke.
It's a lot to take in, D.
Oh. That's a lot. I think we gotta go home.
Are you sure?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to what's that word for like sorting your words? It's like art. That's
Recall.
no, articulate.
Oh, articulate. That begins with an A, D.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Articulate.
Well, would you like a cup of tea?
Okay, yeah.
Gather your thoughts and we'll talk. She goes off to the kitchen.
Is Nettles here?
Nettles has just jumped up on your lap. Make another grit roll for me.
You are not going to believe this. I'm pretty sure T is currently having an emotional breakdown because that's another one. Yep, this dice decided now is the time where you cannot longer function.
You are finding it really, really overwhelming, but fortunately, Nettles is on hand. I am going to spend the psychic point, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll. Seeing your distress, and with the roll being so bad, it is physical. You are at that point of shaking and like really
like
kind of
nauseous. Yeah, hands just like balls of the hands just like buried in the eyes.
Nettles hops up next to you and just starts rubbing up against you, and you can feel like you begin to settle. Your breathing becomes easier. However, because the roll wasn't great, the thoughts are still there. Okay, so physically you feel well, but mentally you are still trying to get these thoughts in some kind of order.
Okay.
So Mrs. Thistledown pops back. She brings a tray with some tea, the English way, and plops one in front of you. How are we, Dee?
Dee just kind of like stares down into it and like kind of like slowly looks up at her. It's like, you ain't gonna make fun of me if I ask you something, right?
Of course not.
Have you ever like wondered what it's like to like, you know, be like a boy?
She looks at you and tilts her head, like, be somebody else. Of course, that's what we have our imaginations for.
Yeah, but I mean, like how often do you think about that?
Oh, my mind goes to all sorts of places, all the time.
But I'm like talking about like that one specific place.
Well, not often, I suppose.
Okay, like, Do you think it's weird? If,
Do I think
someone's like freaking goes there a lot?
No, of course not. We all have thoughts that we can't explain. And she looks at you, and she puts her hand on your arm, and she says, "It's okay to have those thoughts, Dee. It's all right. And I understand."
But do you? I don't. She had my hat.
I'm assuming you're talking of your journey.
Yeah, at the end, I was like, oh, that had my hat.
Remember, the journeys, the future visions are what could be's. And the only people who could make those happen are the people that have those visions. So far you've told me about the Boggoth, you told me about the girl in the hat, all intrinsically linked to you. So how is your story going to end, Dee?
Hey, Eve here again. I'm doing this bit to explain things, make it explicitly clear, and to avoid any concerns of queer baiting. Dee is a trans girl. She will come to terms, and she will come out. I don't know when that will be, but this is my word that it will happen. For the time being, I will continue to use they, them, and he, him pronouns for her, as she is still sorting herself out, and I want to keep it in the same headspace. Dee has been planned as trans since day one. I had originally intended to drag this out longer, drop hints, do a lot more of wink wink, nudge nudge. But at the end of the day, that isn't fair to the audience, and it isn't fair to Dee. Dee's experiences with being trans are similar to mine. I spent a long time desperately hiding from myself, terrified of losing everyone. That fear was all-consuming, and I got very good at hiding it. I could smile and laugh and push my way through without anyone else seeing it. It ground me down, honed me to a fine edge. I wouldn't wish that fear on anyone, but at the same time, it made me a better, harder woman than I would have been otherwise. When trans people are shown in media, or at the very least the rare occasions where we're shown in a positive light, it always skips that stage of the story, showing us at our most confident and out for the most part. Like I said, this is in the yay positive woke points category. This isn't the experience for every trans person, and it shouldn't be the experience for any of us. But I've been around long enough to know that it's pretty common. Because of that, I felt we should do our best to show it. Don't worry though, if Dee is anything like me, she's going to turn out just fine. So, with that, just got a couple into show notes here. You can find us on Twitter at Brits_bikes. Jimmy is at Jimmy Sprinkless. I'm at Copper Harpy, if I can ever say that properly. And if you want to talk to Kat, just get with any of us. We will get that message to her. Alright, so stick around for a message from our friends over at Modified Roll. And as always, keep on biking.
So Modified Rule is an actual play D&D 5e podcast featuring new and veteran-ish players. So come and join us as we explore an entirely homebrew world created by our talented DM Liam. This is an old school D&D experience where we focus on collaborative storytelling in an open world. This of course allows us as players to cause as much anxiety as possible for our DM. So come and listen in as we argue rules, ignore plot hooks, and just generally have a good time. You can find us on almost every podcast platform, and you can chat to us pretty much anywhere on social media. Modified Rule. Come and join our table.